In the depths of winter, when snowstorms rage across the Japanese mountains and valleys, there walks a figure of terrible beauty. Her skin is pale as freshly fallen snow, her hair as black as the night sky, and her kimono shimmers like ice crystals in moonlight. She is the Yuki-onna, the Snow Woman, one of Japan's most enduring and haunting yokai spirits. I'm taking you on a journey through centuries of Japanese folklore to uncover the truth behind this enigmatic entity. If you're fascinated by mythology and the stories that have shaped cultures for generations, consider subscribing to join me as we explore the supernatural beings of world mythology, one legend at a time. The earliest recorded mention of the Yuki-onna appears in the Sogi Shokoku Monogatari, a collection of tales from the Muromachi period in the 15th century, though oral traditions suggest her origins stretch back even further into Japan's ancient past. She emerged from the harsh realities of life in Japan's snow-covered regions, places where winter could be as deadly as it was beautiful. The Yuki-onna is intrinsically tied to the geography of Japan itself. She appears primarily in tales from regions that experience heavy snowfall, the mountainous areas of Niigata Prefecture, the Japan Alps, and the Northern Territories where winter reigns for months at a time. These weren't just storytelling settings. They were places where travelers genuinely died from exposure, where avalanches claimed lives, and where the power of winter was a very real threat. But it was Lafcadio Hearn, the Greek-Irish writer, who became a naturalized Japanese citizen, who brought the Yuki-onna to international prominence. In his 1904 collection, Kwaidan, Stories and Studies of Strange Things, Hearn recorded what would become the most famous Yuki-onna tale. He heard this story from a farmer in Musashi Province, and it's this version that has shaped much of our modern understanding of the Snow Woman. In Hearn's account, we meet Minokichi, a young woodcutter who encounters the Yuki-onna on a freezing winter night. The story captures something essential about the Yuki-onna's nature. She is not simply a monster, but a being of contradictions. She can be merciful and merciless, beautiful and terrifying, nurturing and destructive, all within the same breath. Understanding what the Yuki-onna is requires us to understand the Japanese concept of yokai. Unlike Western supernatural creatures that fit neatly into categories like demon or ghost, yokai exist in a liminal space. They are supernatural beings, yes, but they're deeply connected to natural phenomena and human emotion. The Yuki-onna is yokai, but more specifically, she represents the spirit of snow itself, given form and consciousness. Her appearance is remarkably consistent across different regional variations. She manifests as a tall, beautiful woman with impossibly pale skin, so white it seems translucent, as if she herself is made of snow. Her long black hair provides a stark contrast, flowing down her back like a midnight river against a winter landscape. Some accounts describe her as wearing a white kimono, while others say she appears naked. Her body itself, the color of fresh snow. Her feet rarely touch the ground. Instead, she glides above the snow without leaving footprints, defying the natural world even as she embodies it. But her beauty is deceptive. The Yuki-onna's most terrifying ability is her frozen breath. When she exhales upon a victim, her breath carries the killing cold of the deepest winter. The unfortunate soul freezes solid, becoming a statue of ice. In some regional variations, particularly those from northern Japan, she doesn't merely freeze her victims, she drains their life force, their very essence, leaving behind a frozen corpse drained of blood and spirit. This aspect connects her to vampiric creatures in other cultures, though her method is uniquely her own. The Yuki-onna appears most often during snowstorms, particularly at night. She targets travelers who have become lost in blizzards, woodcutters working in isolated areas, and those foolish enough to venture out in dangerous winter conditions. However, her motivations aren't always purely malevolent. In many tales, she seems to act according to an alien logic, sometimes killing without mercy, other times showing unexpected compassion. The tale recorded by Hearn in Kwaidan remains the most complete and psychologically complex Yuki-onna story we have. It begins on a winter evening when two woodcutters, Old Mosaku and his young apprentice Minokichi, find themselves caught in a sudden snowstorm. They take shelter in a ferryman's hut, hoping to wait out the worst of the weather. That night, As they sleep, the door bursts open. A woman of impossible beauty enters, surrounded by swirling snow and bringing with her the bite of winter itself. Minokichi awakens to see this apparition leaning over Mosaku. She breathes upon the old man, her breath becoming a cloud of ice crystals, and Mosaku freezes where he lies. Minokichi should have been next, but when the Yuki-onna turns to him, something stays her hand. Perhaps it's his youth, or his beauty, or something else entirely that even she doesn't understand. Whatever the reason, she spares him. But her mercy comes with a condition, that he should not speak of what happened to anyone, threatening that she would know if he does. The Yuki-onna then vanishes into the storm, and when morning comes, Mosaku is found frozen dead. The young woodcutter keeps his terrible secret, never speaking of that night to anyone. A year passes, then another. Minokichi continues his work, and life goes on. One evening he meets a beautiful young woman named Oyuki traveling alone. There's something ethereal about her, something that seems to shimmer like fresh snow, but Minokichi is smitten. They marry, and Oyuki proves to be a devoted wife. She bears him children, 10 children in some versions of the tale, and the years pass in domestic contentment. But Oyuki never ages. While Minokichi grows older, weathered by his work and the passing years, his wife remains as young and beautiful as the day they met. Her skin stays impossibly pale, and she seems uncomfortable on warm summer days, preferring the winter months. One winter evening, as Oyuki sews by candlelight, Minokichi looks at her and she reminded him of the Yuki-onna he met when he was young. And he tells her everything. The storm, the hut, the death of Mosaku, and the beautiful, terrible woman who spared his life and swore him to secrecy. As he speaks, Oyuki's face changes. Her expression shifts from gentle domesticity to something ancient and cold. She then revealed to him that she really is the woman he met that night. In Hearn's version, what happens next is unexpected. The Yuki-onna should kill Minokichi, that was her vow, but she didn't as she was in love with him. So she vanishes into the night, transforming into a white mist that flows out through the smoke hole in the roof. Minokichi never sees her again, but sometimes on winter nights he sees a white figure in the falling snow, watching his house from a distance. A mother who cannot fully leave her children, a yokai caught between her supernatural nature and the human love she discovered. The Yuki-onna is not a monolithic figure across Japan. Like the snow itself, she takes different forms in different regions, adapting to local beliefs and concerns while maintaining her essential nature. In Niigata Prefecture, particularly in the mountain villages, she's known as Yuki-joro, which translates to snow courtesan. Here, the emphasis is on her seductive danger. She appears to lone travelers as a beautiful woman in distress, asking for help. Those who try to assist her find themselves led deeper into the storm, farther from safety, until they collapse and freeze. This version emphasizes the deceptive nature of winter itself. What appears beautiful can kill you. The Aomori region tells of Yuki-onna, the snow hag, a more overtly malevolent version who appears carrying a child. She approaches travelers and asks them to hold her baby for just a moment. If they agree, the child becomes heavier and heavier, impossibly heavy, until the traveler can no longer move and freezes in place. This variation likely reflects fears about the burden of survival in harsh winter conditions, where even a simple act of kindness could prove fatal. In some coastal areas of northern Japan, the Yuki-onna is conflated with another yokai called the Yukinbo, which is a childlike snow spirit. These stories speak of groups of snow women and children who appear during blizzards, suggesting a whole society of winter spirits rather than a single entity. The Zenkoji region has a particularly interesting variation where the Yuki-onna is not entirely malevolent, but rather represents the unpredictable nature of winter itself. She might help lost travelers find their way, or she might lead them to their doom. Her actions as capricious as a winter storm. What's fascinating is that despite these regional differences, certain elements remain constant. Her pale beauty, her association with deadly cold, her appearance during snowstorms, and her complex relationship with humans. Sometimes merciful, sometimes merciless, always mysterious. The Yuki-onna represents far more than a simple ghost story or cautionary tale. She embodies fundamental truths about the Japanese experience of nature and the human condition. First and foremost, she personifies the dual nature of winter itself. Japan has a deep aesthetic appreciation for snow. It appears in countless poems, paintings, and cultural celebrations. The Japanese concept of Yuki-onna, or snow viewing, treats snowfall as something beautiful to be contemplated and admired. Yet this same snow kills. It buries villages, freezes travelers, and makes survival a daily challenge in mountainous regions. The Yuki-onna encapsulates this duality. She is breathtakingly beautiful and utterly deadly, just like the winter she embodies. Her character also explores themes of isolation and human connection. In many tales, including Hearn's famous version, the Yuki-onna is a fundamentally lonely figure. She exists outside human society, unable to truly participate in the warmth of human connection, yet drawn to it nonetheless. When she takes the form of Oyuki and lives as Minokichi's wife, she experiences something she cannot have in her true form: family, love, the passage of time marked by children growing and seasons changing. But ultimately, her nature betrays her, and she must return to her solitary existence. There's also a fascinating gender dimension to the Yuki-onna legend. She is one of many female yokai in Japanese folklore, and like many of them, she operates in the liminal space between desire and danger. Her beauty attracts, but her true nature repels and destroys. Some scholars interpret her as representing anxieties about female sexuality and the unknown nature of women in traditional Japanese society, where arranged marriages meant men often barely knew their wives before wedding them. The revelation that Oyuki is actually the Yuki-onna can be read as a metaphor for the discovery of a spouse's true nature. However, more recent interpretations have moved away from seeing her purely through a lens of male anxiety. Instead, they emphasize her agency and power. The Yuki-onna is not a victim or a passive force. She makes choices, shows mercy or cruelty according to her own judgment, and in the end, chooses love for her children over adherence to her vow. She is a mother who sacrifices her own nature for her offspring, a theme that resonates across cultures. The Yuki-onna also reflects the Shinto belief in kami, spirits that inhabit natural phenomena. She isn't a demon in the Christian sense, nor is she the ghost of a dead human, though some regional variations do give her origin stories involving women who died in snowstorms. Instead, she is the spirit of snow itself, the consciousness of winter given form. This reflects the Japanese understanding that all aspects of nature possess their own spirit and agency. In the modern era, the Yuki-onna has transcended her folkloric origins to become a cultural icon. She appears in manga, anime, films, and video games, each iteration adding new layers to her story, while maintaining the core elements that have made her compelling for centuries. She has become a symbol of Japanese folklore itself in international popular culture. The Yuki-onna endures because she speaks to something fundamental in the human experience. She reminds us that nature is not simply a backdrop for human drama, but a force with its own agency and power. She embodies beauty and terror, isolation and connection, the inhuman and the all-too-human. Her story has evolved over centuries, from oral traditions in snowbound villages to the pages of Lafcadio Hearn's Kwaidan to modern retellings in contemporary media. Yet at her core, she remains what she has always been, the spirit of winter, the snow woman who walks through blizzards, impossibly beautiful and deadly cold, forever caught between her nature as a yokai and the human emotions that even supernatural beings cannot entirely escape. The next time you see snow falling on a winter night, you might remember her, the Yuki-onna, gliding through the storm, her black hair streaming behind her, forever searching for something she can glimpse but never truly hold, the warmth of human connection in a world of ice. Thank you for joining me on this journey into Japanese mythology. If you enjoyed exploring the legend of the Yuki-onna, there are many more fascinating beings waiting to be discovered. Subscribe to continue this exploration with me, and until next time, stay curious about the stories that have shaped our world.